One day there was just a sandy beach. Then some water fell from the sky. These people didn't know what water really was. They started drinking it. It was fresh water, the freshest water on earth. Then, one day in a very bad afternoon, a volcano arose. There was raw water inside, but soon to be turned to hot, boiling magma. The First Nation people didn't know what this was, so they tried touching it. One of them touched it, died on the spot. Then more and more magma came, more upon more upon more upon more. No one knew what this was, so what they were doing. What they knew was nothing. Then the volcano erupted, blowing it into the atmosphere. The volcano's magma started a whole new thing. No one knew what it was. Water came through, causing so much panic. They decided to live underground. They didn't want to open up the gates because they knew what would happen if they did, due to their houses being destroyed on the spot by one of them. Under that one house, there was a humongous bunker, so they all sealed a part of it off. Soon the stone started a bit of fire, so they got worried. Luckily, they sealed the entrance off with fiery rocks, so it melted into place. There was ash everywhere. It was unbearable to see. They didn't know what to do. The volcano kept erupting and erupting and erupting. There was so much fire and flames that no one knew what to do. There was flames and fire, and the volcano soon had a humongous outburst. Snow fell from the sky. Like millions of little tiny people. Water decided it was a great time to show up. Some acid fell down, soon to be melted by a volcano of nothingness. There was nothing they could do. Some salt from the sky fell into the ground, causing a lot of problems. Some sand exploded, falling from the sky. The sand fell and fell and fell, but there was no way to save it. They didn't know what to do. Then their place was soon being covered in molten lava and sand. Molten lava fell from the skies from the volcano, rising everything. There was nothing they could do, as the molten lava was too powerful. Then they thought the world was over. But then some water spilled in from the roof. They didn't know what it was, so they drank it. It was the freshest water on earth that they'd seen long times ago. They didn't know what it could do. They didn't know what happened. But magma was spilling through their base. They tried boarding it off, but it burnt. So they used more rocks. Soon the magma melted in. But Morley, the magma caused acid to fall again and again and again. But then it was too late. They had their own little ecosystem in there. They didn't know how to fix what happened on the outside world. But they couldn't fix it. It was how the world was made. Years passed and sand fell from the sky after exploding. Water soon came back, but they didn't know that. They thought the world ended. They didn't know that they were not the only survivors. Then they started thinking. They started thinking about what to do. So they started trying to get out from the front way. They fell into some ash, but luckily they had a catching thing. They started melting. They started mining. And soon they hit the volcano that they've seen long, long ago. Mined right through the volcano, right up into an ash pit. Ash filled the mine and causing problems. Everyone evacuated and headed back into where they lived. So stuff started falling. They didn't know what they were going to do. But on the above world, banks and everything started happening. Then they started laying out cement on the upper world so they could have a nice cement area for a park that they were building on the upper world. But the First Nations down there did not know anything. So they mined back through there and tried going around. They ended up mining right into a smaller one. Then they went around it, found a way around it, and it lived. Then they mined into some ash. They didn't know what to do with the ash, because the ash was compact by now. So they just decided to keep the ash. Soon they started mining up, but then got bombarded by so much sand and concrete, crashing through everything, causing a collapse with salt. Salt collapses through the place, causing a whole decimation. They didn't know how to get out, so they just mined up. They mined up and ended up finding their way out before being bombarded by sand. Then water started spilling in from the ocean. They didn't know what the water was doing. They thought it was good water. They thought the water wouldn't have done this. But no. It all fell in and started flooding. By then, the corners started becoming up to waist height. It was up to waist height by then. They didn't know how to keep it from dying. then they mined even more. But then a hole collapsed in the sand, caused a whole much of water going through. The amount of sand and caused the water to go up to at least neck height in the